And I'm Matty Gunner, and this is Class Action. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, you're right, Paul. This is going to be a great episode. We've been looking forward to doing this one for a while, celebrating James Gunn. He's just become the big. What can I hear myself? That's weird. It's almost like I'm here by myself. But Paul, you're right here with me. Screw it. Right. What's up, everyone? The bit has failed. Hang on. This is great, right? This is great. What are you? This is what happens when you try to put a bit together last minute by yourself. Okay, so I am doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 versus The Suicide Squad. Not Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad. And this is to celebrate the career of one Mr. James Gunn, who is now, as I said, the big boss, the CEO over at DC. And he's the one, I saw his slate. Not going to lie, didn't know about half of it. So I'm all on board for that. What I'm not all on board for is my two co-hosts leaving me to run the show and be the captain of the ship. So I'm going to try my best here. I'm going to need some crowd participation, as we call it in the music industry. So what is class action? What is class action is normally myself, Richard-Erik Jarvi, and Paul DiNuzzo breaking down two movies, two actors, two directors, two composers, whatever, two of anything in the film sphere. And we take it down to 5 or 6 custom-made categories, 6 or 7, normally depending on how much Paul wants to rig the system and get whatever he's rooting for to win. But the categories for today are, in the case of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 versus the Suicide Squad, we have better heroes. Bit of a weird one in this matchup. We have better villains. We have the better mission and or story. Same shit, different toilet. Better action and better music. But before we, and when I say we, I mean I, get on to doing the trial, we play a little game here, and I'm going to bring this game back because I'm the captain now. I have control. So while the other two aren't here, I'm going to bring this game back. Normally, we like to do a whole schmo-down-esque spin of the wheel and then cast the rolls. But this time, for this week only, I am bringing back what would Ed Harris play. I'm bringing back what would Ed Harris play without POD as punishment for him not being here this week. So he doesn't get to enjoy the glory of casting Ed Harris in these two movies. So we're going to start with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Who would I cast Ed Harris as in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? And I've pulled up the cast with me, and there's a lot of good options here. There's a lot of good options. But I feel like the go-to one that he would fit probably the best in would be Michael Rooker as Yondu. I think Ed Harris as Yondu would be very awkward for him. I don't know if he's got the William Harold in the chat saying Ed Harris is the gold lady. I like that. I like that because it completely takes Ed Harris out of his comfort zone. If he has a comfort zone, apparently he's the greatest character actor of all time, so I'm sure he could pull it off. That is not my opinion, but apparently so. But I think Ed Harris's Yondu might be the go-to. I think that one might be the go-to. Now, let's go over to the Suicide Squad. I have my reservations about this one. I don't know who I would cast him as. My first gut instinct is to have him as Bloodsport. But Idris Elba is so damn good in that. I think with his military background, you gotta put Ed Harris as Colonel Rick Flag. Oh, dude, hell yeah! Ed Harris is Pete Davidson. I mean, I'm a massive Pete Davidson fan, so I wouldn't want to see the King besmirched like that. But yeah, Ed Harris is a random guy from Contraction. Yes, dude. Yes, dude. I like it. I like it. You could put Ed Harris as anyone. For this week, I don't give a shit what we put Ed Harris is because I'm running the show. This is the Matty Gunner show of this one. It's a pretty weird matchup for me to be put on my own, but fuck it. Here we are. Ed Harris is a random guy from Contraxia. Ed Harris is Pete Davidson. Ed Harris is the Gold Lady. These are all stellar choices. I'm going with my picks. I'm going with Rick Flag. And I'm going with Yondu. They're probably yes. Just Ed Harris's face on the boomerang as it comes flying around. Fuck yeah, dude. Shout out to the Montyverse. Shout out to Monty and all the crew over there. Great crew. Go check out their channel if you're a fan of like comic books, comic book movies, all that good stuff. Go check them out. Just trying to think if there's anyone else that I could really. I don't want to take out Sly because I love Sly. Who's someone that's really like obscure? I like putting Ed Harris as obscure stuff. Half Nut. Okay. There's a character called Half Nut, played by Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence. Did not know he was in the movie. Shout out to Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence. His character's name is Half Nut. So that would be another option for Mr. Harris. What else we got? I think that's it. That's it for Guardians. Let's have a look, see if there's anyone else for Suicide Squad. There's no one really. I mean, you just want to play General Hummel. I mean, he could carry over Michael. We could go 2 for 2 with Michael Rooker, and he could play Savant. That could be a thing. Just replace Michael Rooker in everything Michael Rooker does. That's a joke. I love Michael Rooker. Don't do that. Okay, so I'm going to do something. This has not been run by Paul. This has not been cleared by upper management. If you want, this is going to be the people versus Matty Gunner. So, if you want to tell me how wrong I am, if you want to tell me how much I suck, let me just double check something real quick because I want to make sure that he's online to see that I am doing this. Yep. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to tell me how wrong I am, how much I suck, here's the link to the room. You're welcome to come on the show, and we're welcome to have this out. This is the very first, never been done. This is the people versus Matty Gunner trial. But I'm going to start. I'm going to get this trial going. And we are going to begin with the category of better heroes. Better heroes. Now, this is a weird one because in the Suicide Squad, it's a story that I kind of like because it's so easy to root for the villain, right? It's so easy to want to project ourselves onto the villain role, the bad guy role, because it's something that day-to-day life we don't normally get to do. Like most people are normally, I say most normal people are good people. So playing the villain, it's exciting. And I think that's why the concept when it first came out of the Suicide Squad getting a movie and, you know, Harley Quinn getting Birds of Prey and the Joker having a spin-off, I feel like that was very exciting at the time because it's a different twist. It's on these comic book movies, which traditionally follow the heroes. You get, you know, going from not just DC, but the MCU as well. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Superman, Batman, Superman. It's normally the heroes that are front and center. So giving it that little twist, I feel is very interesting to have the villains at the forefront of the story. But if you look at the villains that I think were picked in Suicide Squad, I feel like James Gunn's strength is picking these characters that are kind of lesser known or, you know, not so much in the spotlight. So Ed Harris is banned today, right? Ed Harris is not banned. I brought back Ed Harris. What would Ed Harris play? Solely for myself because Paul's not here, so I punished him by doing it myself, and he's not allowed to do it. It's banned for the future, but not this week, Kelly. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, a strength of James Gunn's that I find is that he'll take these characters that are not so well known. Like the guy, I had no clue who the Guardians of the Galaxy really were. Like I'd heard of them, obviously, from the limited exposure to comic books. I have some, but obviously not to the level of like a Paul or a Monty does. But to like Polka Dot Man, for example, I'd never heard of Polka Dot Man until this movie. This was the first time I'd ever heard of Polka Dot Man. Call me a folk fan, whatever. But I found that really interesting. And Peacemaker was another one that I was just kind of like, okay, I have no idea who that is, and we'll get to that. But there is something to doing that it did at some points feel to me like every person was just put in and they didn't really. It's supposed to be like a team up movie, yet I felt like while the story was that everyone was there for their own self-interests on this mission, I personally didn't feel like there was much of a team collective. And maybe that is because they are villains. They are solely out their day-to-day life as a villain. You're serving your own self-interest. That's the whole purpose of being a villain. But the Guardians, I feel like there was that camaraderie, be it, you know, forced or I don't want to say forced. There's like with a team like the Guardians, there's like this dysfunctional chemistry. It's like the family that you see at Christmas, you know that you're like, oh God, this guy again. Like, but you only have to see them, you know, once or twice a year. So you could put up with it. But then you have just like the chemistry. Dave Bautista, who is on an absolute tear at the minute, he's, oh God. Him as Drax and I forget the actress' name. God, I suck. That plays Mantis. Doesn't matter. But there is more chemistry between the heroes in Guardians, which leads to a better team-up movie, I think, in Guardians Volume 2. And I feel like each of them play their roles to perfection. Vin Diesel comes in just to say one line a bunch of different times, but you know he's probably having the time of his life and getting a massive fucking paycheck for doing it. Dave Bautista, as I said, Bradley Cooper, they seem to be having the absolute time of their lives playing Drax and playing Rocket. So I guess this is my long-winded way of saying I'm giving the better heroes category to Guardians Volume 2. So that is, yeah. I'm just checking here. Okay, no. Okay, I must be doing fine because no one's coming into the room to tell me I'm wrong. So looks like I'm doing okay there. Better heroes category. I am giving it to Guardians. So better villains. Better villains. See, this one was tough too. This one was tough too because you got Kurt Russell. Like, I can't fucking argue with Kurt Russell. But how do you look? I'm just looking at this cast now. How do you look at the Suicide Squad and not just be like John Cena? Like, I wasn't a massive wrestling fan in the 2000s, but I am very, very well aware of the persona and the portrayal that John Cena had of this very straight-laced, this is what America symbolizes, poster boy, take your vitamin, the old Hulk Hogan, like, take your vitamins, eat your vegetables, blah, blah, blah. So to turn him into this over patriotic, psychopathic, super soldier killer in Peacemaker is fucking genius on the part of James Gunn. Absolute fucking genius. And to give him a spin-off show shows his potential and his, what's the right word I'm looking for? To, like, another way of saying that his character, like John Cena's ability to play more than one different, I guess, like, what I'm trying to say is his range. Like, his ability to, as a wrestler, portray this very straight-laced good guy, and then you go to Peacemaker, who is so much of a piece of shit that they give him his own spin-off show. I think you can kind of sympathize with the character of Ego because it's pretty much the same as Thanos. He just wants to leave something better in his point of view. Here's something better for the next generation. It may not be what we view or the hero's view as the right thing, but it's the right thing in his mind. So there's the little bit of the sympathy factor for Kurt Russell. He's been on his own this whole time. He's just trying to find his son. He wants to pass this along. It's that passing down to the next generation, which is kind of sweet. It's kind of cute, right? But then you have Viola Davis and you have John Cena, who are just, they don't give a shit. And they're fun villains. They are fun villains. Whereas Kurt Russell's Ego, you have more of that sympathy factor for. So I am giving this one to the Suicide Squad. Better villains. Because if you think about it, the heroes are villains and the villains are heroes. It's weird. It's a reversal. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the other two to bounce off of, so I have no fucking clue. We're gonna go into the next category, which is better mission / story. Now, this is kind of a tough one because you have Guardians, which is like Darth Vader and Luke, I am your father. Finding purpose, the whole theme of found family, which is very rich in Star Wars, something that I very much relate to. This is a tough one. I still haven't kind of come to a conclusion where I'm going to go on this because the purpose in the finding the purpose in yourself that comes with the Suicide Squad, especially with Harley, the finding that purpose in yourself and not being what other people label you as. Like, Harley, Bloodsport, all these people, you've been labeled villains. You are enemies of the country, the world. You are bad people. That is what they've been labeled as. And in this movie, they're essentially going, you know what? Fuck you. No, we're going to save the world. We're going to do something good for a change. Albeit they are forced to because they have bombs in the back of their fucking skulls. But that's kind of charming in a weird way for these weird psychotic villains to be given a second or third chance for Harley in this case. But there's something about the also not being tied down to what the generation that comes before us of Ego expecting Star-Lord to be his successor and to become something like him. He shows him that he has this godlike power, and he's like, look, son, you could have this too. But then Peter realizing, no, this is wrong. Like, I am essentially half God. I have this power. I can create anything I want. I can do anything I want, but at the risk of hurting the people I love and risk of hurting other people. And he just realizes that's wrong. There's something charming to that as well. So I think I'm probably going to have to give this one to Guardians, because not only does it promote the same kind of message as the Suicide Squad in finding that purpose in yourself and not constraining yourself to the generations that come before us, our parents, our grandparents, before that, etc., etc. I know personally, like, for me, on my dad's side of the family, they all work in the family business, which is not something I ever wanted to be a part of. I am lucky to not be a part of that family business. I chose to take my own path, such as Star-Lord did in this movie, in Guardians Volume 2. So that's something very relatable. So I think I'm going to give this one to, I'm going to give this one to Guardians, because it has the whole theme of found family, finding a bunch of misfits and outcasts from all over the place is something I also recognize very well. So that one, better story and better mission goes to Guardians. Moving on. Anyone decided to join? No. Okay. I must be doing okay. Otherwise, you guys have probably just got me in the background, just on mute or something. I appreciate all of you that are showing up here. I was very nerve-wracking. I had a bit that I was trying to do of having a picture of Paul on one side, a picture of Jarvi on the other side, and trying to go like back and forth between it, and it didn't work, and it kind of sucked, but fuck it. I tried. I'm sorry. What's next? I don't remember. Okay, better action. Some of the kills and the fights in the Suicide Squad are so fucking gnarly, and the action starts right from the go. Like, right from the first scene, we are thrown straight into it on the beach with the Team A, Team B. Team A just getting completely fucking wiped out. Pete Davidson dying in like the first fucking minute, which at that time, with everything going on with Pete Davidson in the media, I thought was really fucking funny. Then you have Guardians, which the action, there isn't a whole lot of. It's more the story of Pete. Oh, we got a message. Huh? I won't pretend to be either POD or Jarvi. I've tried to be Paul, but I was served with a cease and desist and told to stop, because it's apparently identity theft to be like trying to pretend to be someone else. But what can you do? The legal system, am I right? But what was I saying? God, I fucking lost track. Oh yeah, Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is essentially it's like an 80s action movie on the DC budget, on a Warner Brothers budget. You have like Harley doing some kind of a gun kata in a red dress. The overhead shot of Harley doing like the gun kata dance in the she's wearing like the red dress, and they're all the guards are like coming at her, and she's just doing like the equilibrium gun kata kind of thing. I had to get an equilibrium reference in there. Paul's not here, so I can sneak one in. Then you have the whole explosions everywhere. Harley pulling out an RPG. Peacemaker and Bloodshot both walking through the camp, like trying to outdo each other with how many kills they could get is fucking hilarious. Peacemaker just like slashing the dude with his like mallet, axe, whatever fucking thing, while the guy's asleep, just completely. In fact, that whole campsite scene is really fucking great. But with Guardians, there's some action, but it kind of is secondary to the main story. It's not really. It's an action movie in the sense of they put it in there to fill the criteria for a comic book movie. But it doesn't. I don't feel like the action really services the movie in any way. I feel like they, other than the big main boss fight against Ego at the end, I feel like they could have pulled everything out and it would have been just as good. Would have been just as fine. So I'm going to give better action to the Suicide Squad. Moving on. Music. But we'll quickly let's address the chat. TSS is a little predator. That is a perfect comparison, Kelly. Of they are arriving on an island somewhere, an unnamed island. I know it has a name. I just can't remember the name. Don't judge me. To kill some creature that no one knows how it got there. Yeah, it is like the DC hero, the DC comics movie version of Predator. I like that comparison a lot. It's a good comparison. But let's get on to music, and this is the final category of the day, of the week, and then I'm getting out of here because I started this stream like, okay, I'm gonna do this. It's fine, blah blah blah. I don't know how podcasters and streamers can do shows on their own because this is fucking awkward talking to myself. But we're here. The show, as the great band Queen said, the show must go on. So, music. This one was very, very easy for me. I'm giving this one to Guardians of the Galaxy based solely on the fact, and there's a rank coming here, so this is what you guys paid for. 21 Pilots fucking suck. And if you put them on your movie soundtrack, I'm immediately picking against you. Putting a live version of Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues does not save you. I'm sorry, 21 you put one song by 21 Pilots on your soundtrack, you fucking lose to me. I mean, Guardians has ELO, it has Sweet, it has Fleetwood Mac, Cheap Trick, Cat Stevens. I'm sorry, that's way better than fucking what else can anyone name anything else that stuck out to them on the Suicide Squad soundtrack? I read, I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere that they said no to an Aerosmith song, they said no to Queen, and they said no to David fucking Bowie. Maybe they didn't have the budget to get the rights to those songs. I don't know. But if you have the choice of Aerosmith Queen, or David Bowie, and you say no, and you pick 21 Pilots, that is almost picking 21 Pilots to me is almost as bad as putting Imagine Dragons on. And yes, I know there is an Imagine Dragons song on one of the Mission Impossible soundtracks. I choose to not accept that as canon. I choose to not accept that as reality. But I'm sorry, just looking at the artists on the soundtrack of Guardians Volume 2, Electric Light Orchestra, Sweet, Fleetwood Mac, Cheap Trick, Cat Stevens. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with that soundtrack. What is it? The Awesome Mix Volume 2 over 21 Pilots and a live version of a song that is not even Johnny Cash's best song. In fact, let's be fair, Johnny Cash's best song is a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song, which is Hurt. For those of you who don't know, who live under a rock, Hurt is not a Johnny Cash song. It's a Nine Inch Nails song. I actually told my sister that on holiday once. I was on a complete tangent, but fuck it, we're here. I got time to kill. I was on holiday once with my family, and the topic of conversation shifted somehow to Johnny Cash. And my sister's a massive Johnny Cash fan, and she started talking about the song Hurt. I said, "Oh, I bet you didn't know that that's not his song." She was fucking adamant that it was a Johnny Cash song, but it's not. It's a Nine Inch Nails song. So for the Suicide Squad to use a live version, that's a curious thing as well. I wonder why they used the live version. Maybe it was a budget thing. Maybe they just didn't have the rights to. Maybe they couldn't pay for getting the actual song, so they had to use a live version. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't care. 21 Pilots is on the soundtrack, so it's an immediate fucking write-off for me. Best music goes to Guardians Volume 2. And with that being said, let's count up the score here so we can get up out of here and go home. So, and possibly the lowest ever score on Class Action, we have got the score of 3-2. 3-2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is your winner this week. Okay. All right, let's finish this show and then we can get up out of here. Paul has his shtick that he does, so I'm going to do my best to do this. If you are new here, if you are new to the channel, PLD Project's putting out a lot of content. I know Paul has got some stuff in the works that I'm privy to one of them, and it's something that's a long time coming. But I know he's got a lot of stuff planned for content upcoming throughout the next few months. You can find shows like Two Mediocre White Dudes on Film with Paul DiNuzzo and PJ Campbell. Crown Jewels, which is where Paul goes through the entire, literally every song, whether it be a live version, a remix, studio version, radio edit, whatever, the entire catalog of Queen. As a massive Queen fan, I very much enjoy that show. You have this show, Class Action, with myself this week, but usually with Paul DiNuzzo and Richard-Erik Jarvi. Neither of those two could show up today, so forgive me. I have done my best to give you guys a show of somewhat. And then you have Holy Snoke Star Wars podcast, which is every Thursday. And currently at the moment, we are doing our Bad Batch Season 1 discussions. We had Ken Knapsack of Force Center and many other shows that you will have seen. Ken is an absolute legend. He joined us a couple weeks ago. We are doing a very special episode this Thursday. We are recording our first non-Bad Batch review episode, and fuck it, no one's watching it, so I'm just going to announce it. We will be doing a Harrison Ford appreciation episode with none other than my favorites, your favorites, the fan favorites, the hosts of the Ford Fiesta podcast, the movie guys themselves, Paul Preston and Adam Whitt. We will be doing a Harrison Ford in Star Wars appreciation episode that will be coming out. I don't know when it's going to come out because I don't edit the show, so I don't fucking know. Harrison Ford. Yep. William Harrell knows. Harrison Ford. So that's coming up. As for me, you guys can find me on Twitter at Matty Gunner, Instagram Matty_Gunner. You can find my band Mourner, that's Mourner, on all streaming platforms. You can find us on YouTube. You can find our merch at tpublic.com/user/Matty Gunner. And from Thursday, every Thursday and Sunday, the ONU MMA show is back over on the Wild Jones Podcast Network. We will be previewing, in our first episode back, we will be previewing this weekend's pay-per-view, featuring the super fight between the number 1 and number 2 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev, fighting for the lightweight title, as well as Team Alpha Male murderer, killer, absolute legend, future champion, Josh Emmett, fighting Yair Rodriguez for the interim, soon to be full featherweight championship of the world. That is this weekend. We will be talking about that on Thursday, so feel free to join us. And I have no idea what we're doing for class action next week. Hopefully I won't be on my own again because it was awkward as shit. But thank you everyone for tuning in and making this as fun as possible. I guess I will. Sorry, I got a message just come through. Okay, that's nothing. Anyway, thanks for joining. See you next week.